Anybody hear anything?
No.
No. What's she review?
I'm waiting for the light, man. I know. I'm just messing around. Arvin's over here yelling
Did
at me.
somebody point at the light?
You mean the light that's flashing over there?
Well, you know, it's funny. Our Arvin chastised us out in the lobby because, as we're learning this newfangled intros and outros and whatever else Arvin's putting together for us. But anyway, hey, you're listening to the Three Guys Rant live on AdrenalineRadio.com. And Arvin, where else are we these days?
Indie104.com. If you go to our website, www.the3guysrant.com, all the information's there. You can see Ustream, YouTube past videos. You can watch us live now, just about anything.
Hector, say hello, because they always confuse you with me, and they think that all of a sudden I became a man. So would you say hello and let them know you're somebody else?
Hello there.
Say that sounds just like Phil.
No wonder they confused the two of you.
Well, I mean, come on, after 25 years of... All right, we're going to move on for a second here. I hope everybody had a good week. I know I did. It's been, for me, it's almost like Christmas. We're getting ready to start the debates. For those of you that had a chance on the East Coast to watch the Republican debates, they were outstanding. Just another reason why I love this country. But today we're going to talk about some special topics. I know that Arvin's been working the Facebook, the Twitter, the whole, I would say blogosphere, but I can't because we don't even have a real blog yet. So for now, we're just...
He's been working the internet.
That's what we're going to call it.
You know what? As long as I'm off the streets, I'm good.
He's been working the internet. Over the last couple of weeks, I want to thank everybody who's been sending us emails. There's been a few in particular. Yes, I know we sound like a bunch of... Are we right or left wing, Mikey?
We're confused.
Yeah, we don't know, man.
We're confused. We're still trying to find that out.
It depends on the week.
On the week. All right. Well, I know one of the emails I got the other day accused me of being a liberal slut again, and... I do want to say that,
I
I
got that right.
I was going to say, your email was nicer than mine, because
well,
I just got the second part of that.
Yeah, that's, again, it's always Arvin at the3guysrant.com.
No.
Anything negative, please, it goes to Arvin, because if it comes to Mike or I, we don't read it anyway.
Yeah,
So,
we just ignore it.
Arvin has a pre-production meeting with us and lets us know what's going on. And I swear it's hysterical. It's like being chastised by your mother. He walks in like right before church and says, "Okay, boys, this is how it's going to be," and it's hysterical. I really wish you could see Arvin in action.
Like bless you.
Well, no, he doesn't do the blessing, because Arvin is a special individual who doesn't do blessing, but
he's special, all right.
Hey, my mama tells me I'm special every morning.
And I'm sure she used to say that every day as the short bus pulled away. But
That's what happens when you're. That's what happens when you're 45, still live at home with your mama.
In the basement, no less. But
that's not a man cave, you know that, right? At this point in your life, it's not a man cave.
it's funny.
Hey, first off, let's get this straight. I don't live with my mama. She lives with me.
Okay, I knew that was coming because that was the line he told this pretty young woman at dinner the other day. He says, "You want to come back to my place?" And of course, Mike and I scream out, "You mean your mama's house?" No. Mama's staying with me right now temporarily. And I'm like, "But the house is in her name. That doesn't matter. That's semantics."
So I'll inherit it someday.
Exactly.
He's first in line. On today's show, one of the big topics we want to talk about is the upcoming 9/11 anniversary. I know some people got some pretty heated arguments. They got some opinions. We all do. I'm going to ask anybody who's calling in, try to keep it clean, please. Let's not blame anybody here, but I'm just curious, if anybody does want to call in or Facebook or Twitter us, what your thoughts are on it. It's been 10 years this Sunday. A lot of people, the question's been being asked on every channel, every news show. Where were you? Do you remember? How did it affect you? The outcome. I know everybody in this room has had a relative or a friend of a friend or somebody who's either served, didn't come back, just a slew. There's just been so many.
Do you remember where you were at when that
Absolutely. What's funny about that statement, we were talking this morning, my wife and I were having coffee, and 10 years ago, text was, I think, 50 cents a text or something. So it wasn't something that was done. And the funniest part about all that, Mike 10 years ago used to get up very early. And what would happen was the two big events over the last 10 years were the shuttle crash over Texas when it exploded as it was re-entering the atmosphere. Whatever Mike was doing up at 5:30 on a Sunday morning, he calls the house. So, when the phone rings that early, you think you can't
I
be
was
good.
crawling into bed. and
So I remember that call. Well, then a while later, or 10 years ago to be exact, we're getting ready because Mike and I were, I know what we were doing for the company we were working with. We had a small business, and he calls and says, "Did you hear that a plane crashed into one of the towers?" So, of course, my first thought was like, and unfortunately I got to refer back to Bush, but it was like, oh, another Cessna, missed. A small plane must have crashed into it. Let me fire up the news while I was getting dressed. And the business that we were doing required us to wear a shirt and tie those days. So there I am drinking coffee, putting on shirt and tie, got, the picture in the living room, and just sitting there in disbelief as the second plane crashed in to the second building. And that was wild. It was one of those things.
Where were you at?
I was actually at home getting ready. My brother called me. He tells me, "Hey, turn on the news." And back then, Peter Jennings was still alive, and he was doing a special report for ABC News. And I was getting ready, and I remember, let him know. I called my girlfriend. I was calling my mom. Called everybody.
Wait, your girlfriend? Does the wife know about the girlfriend?
Well, at the time, then.
Oh.
So I remember at that time when that second plane hit, it was like, holy crap! I couldn't believe it, man. And debating whether to go to work or not, and I remember I was on the 10 eastbound at Baldwin. No, I'm sorry, I had just passed the 57. I was closer to Montclair when they announced that the second tower fell. And I was like, man, do I just keep going to work? I just turn back around and everything. It's like, it's crazy, dude.
Well, I think it caught everybody off guard. I mean, I remember when that happened, I was waking up. My wife was getting ready to work, and that day we actually decided not to go to work. We were just going to play hooky and just stay home. And typical. I turn on the TV and check out the news, and the first thing is like, I see the image on the screen of one of the towers in smoke, engulfed with flames and all. And then that second plane hit, and all I could do was just sit in the corner of my bed, watching it with amazement, and thinking, should I enlist? Should I? Where's my gun? And just these things started running all over my mind. My wife began to cry. I decided, you know what? I can't sit around just watching. I got to go and do something. So I went to work. But the emotions and the feelings around work that day were just. Everybody was shocked. They were totally taken aback at what had happened, and just the mere look in people's faces. Said it all. I mean, the disbelief, the anger, the rage, the sadness, the crying. But it really affected a lot of people there. I mean, I knew people at work who had relatives in New York, and even in the Twin Towers that worked there, and just trying to connect with their loved ones to see if that person made it out or if they were alive or whatever. And it just keeps playing over and over and over. And the fact that now we're coming up on the 10th year anniversary, you stop and wonder, wow, have you gone back?
I have actually. The other thing that happened that day, just to add on to it, as I was driving to work, because I finally decided, when I was home while the second tower came down. And to your point, I stood there in disbelief and shock, staring at the screen, wondering, what do I do? And I remember one of the newscasters saying, says that we're going to have to find a way to go on. And, in our own, I guess, simple way, I figured, well, I'm going to go to work at least for today. And again, the business that Mike and I had, we used to work with the lawyers and doctors in their offices. And I get to the first office, and everybody's frozen. There's just the medical office wasn't even taking patients, none. Everyone's staring at the screen. Well, then my phone rings that my cousin's in the hospital. So, of course, I'm thinking, why is she in the hospital? It didn't even register. Well, my nephew was born that day. Oh. So she was in the hospital giving birth that morning when everything was going on. So it's one of those things that, his birthday is this Sunday. He'll be 10.
Wow.
But, he was born when all of this was going on. So, hey, we got our first caller. Give me 1 second here. Let's get Pat on the phone. Pat, are you with us? Yeah, I'm here. How you doing? Very good. I want to thank you for calling in. You calling to talk about 9/11? It is, man. How did it affect you? Where were you that day? How many people were in the audience that night?
So Pat, I have a question for you. So, you know, the fact that you had to go on and you know, show must go on, as they say. How was it to you? How were you able to really go out there and be as funny as you are, knowing what had happened? How did that? I'm interested to find out how that show, or how your comedy routine ended up, and then the reaction of the people that were there. How did it take knowing what had happened earlier that day?
And you know, it's funny how you said about the clumps of people. I remember walking around that day. I had to go to 3 different offices. I was staying in touch with Mike again, trying to get to the hospital to see my newborn nephew, and it just, the whole sense of numbness. You know, it was one of the days where traffic was virtually non-existent. People were actually just in a daze. You know, it seemed like nobody was mad at anybody. They were just lost, confused. I don't think anybody knew how to truly react. Yeah, I can imagine it. And that was the big thing, I think, as people were looking, you know, they were just trying to find a way of a semblance. I think everybody just wanted to, you know, feel, I guess, just not lost, not solitary, or you know, feel the solitude that particular event made us feel that day.
Plus, everybody, you know, for the most part, I mean, most people that did not go to work, or people even that went to work, they were glued to the TV
Right.
or the news or the computer. They were just thirsty for news, and some people were just burnt out. They just couldn't believe that this had happened here, you know.
Hey, Pat, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. We're going to go to our first break, and I got a couple more calls coming in, so I wanted to thank you for calling in. You're listening to the Three Guys Rant on AdrenalineRadio.com. We want to thank Pat for calling in.
Thank you, Pat.
Look forward to talking to you again soon, sir. Take care.
We started late again, so that's why I'm going off. We started at 8:02.
Okay.
So
It's just the executive producer over here is yelling
No,
at
no,
me.
no, no. I'm asking. I was just so I knew how to pace it. That's all. But thank you.
I'll well, yeah. I don't know. That was my mistake. I guess just kind of doing it off the way.
No, no, no. The 2
No,
minutes
that's
is
fine.
great. That way I know.
They take so long to get out.
No, no. I'm cool. I just wanted just so I knew how to cut him off. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into a
Yeah.
random start.
Yeah, the breaks are 2 minutes off. So the next one's at 8:32.
Okay.
Then 47. Then
Perfect.
The end of the show.
We'll go
is
to
at-
9:02.
Yeah.
You can cut us at 9 though. Don't worry about going 2 minutes
No,
over.
you have. I mean, it's your hour that you paid for it.
Okay.
You know? So
Okay.
That's cool.
I like
you,
it.
you have to go for it. I'd get fired if I didn't let you do it.
We don't want that, sir. We don't want that.
All right, I'm just checking.
Oh, look at that, man. No working works, huh? It says no working works.
Everything works.
No working.
Oh, how many likes are we up to?
1,988.
That's up from.
1990.
Oh, it just went up. Wow. Am I good or what?
I'm gonna crack up, dude.
Well, we're going for Tom like this morning.
Hey, can we go? Can we log into the Free Guys Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the password?
So, what is it?
Why are you looking at me?
Because I got it from you.
8526 Serapis?
Probably should be saying it while we're on, but
We're not on.
Is that what it is?
I guess.
I'll tell you after. Pretty sure.
No, but I don't know, is it the Three Guys Rant?
Yeah, I think it's Three Guys Rant. Is